Hello, welcome back to Budos channel. Ooh, let me just sit up straight. Okay, sat in meditation pose. You can't tell, but there we have the light of the light. The light of light is my halo, but it's in the wrong place. And you've got Jesus in the background there as well. It's almost as though I am Jesus. He's there. And then here I am, you know, what can I say? What can I say? You know, this is how Jesus is. So, blaspheme away, blasphemous. Yeah, I'm Jesus. Yeah, how you doing? All right. How's it going, like? Yeah, you all right? You all right? What's he do? He's got this. There's another one there where he's sort of like this, touching his heart. You all right? Yeah. How's it going? Yeah, all right. All right. See what I was saying? Yeah, it's you know, they just caught him in the wrong time, and he's doing that. What else have we got him doing? Oh, he's doing that as well in the background. I've recently got into the old Jesus, and there's another one. He's still doing the same thing, touching his heart, and he's pissing out red and blue energies. You can't really see it, and I'm not going to show you. You just take my word for it. He's pissing out red and blue energies there in the background, and he's got one hand up like this. All right, mate, and the other one touching his chest there. All right, is anybody? Can I? I'd like to go to the loo. Hello. So you know when you put your hand up at school, you're like, Miss, I want to go to the toilet. Primary school, Miss. That's what he's doing there. He's like, hello. I really like to just say something just quickly. Can I go to the toilet, please? So that's Jesus. And he's looking quite disapproving at me because I'm taking the piss out of him. He can handle it though, can't he? Really, thinking about it. If anyone can handle a laugh, it's Jesus, because, you know, he's in touch with God and so forth, or he is a representation of God in human form. Let's put my halo back. So, but now that I've talked about a load of nonsense, and hopefully anyone who doesn't want to be here has scrayed out of here already. Scramade, scrambled eggs, had the two of those already today as well. Right, so now that we've got all the housekeeping out of the way, death, that's why you've clicked on this video, I presume, because it's got the title of death. Let's talk about death. Let's talk about death, everybody. I'm not a Christian, but I'm a Jesus-arian. I'm a Jesus-arian. Nah, he's alright, isn't he? He's alright. He is alright. In fact, he's probably more alright than I am. Even though he's dead. But his feeling lives on. His spirit lives on. And I get that. I understand that. I don't believe the whole he's alive. No, he's not actually alive though. You know, his essence and his spirit and his soul and his message is still alive, but he's not actually alive as a person though, is he? Like, so there are people who speak about it as though he's actually walking around. Okay, so God, right. Let's have a look at the Buddha as well. Death. The pink Buddha of death. Okay. The reason why I've started this video, why I've making this video now, is there's been a lot of death going around, I'll have you know. The first death that I became aware of was possibly a mouse in my childhood. Then again, bees as well. There was a lot of bees popped their clogs when I was a child. Some of them even I killed. So, whoops. Yeah, not too keen on doing that nowadays. But I was a child and I was an idiot and I was a mean child. I did not have the light of Jesus in my life. I'm talking as though I'm a Christian. I'm not a Christian at all. It's just I've put him up there because things like these kind of halos and stuff keep showing up, and it really feels like it represents something at the moment. The whole halo thing, and the light of Jesus keeps showing up in my videos in some way. And I'm like, oh, well, I may as well bring him on board then, you know, if he wants to come in, he'll show himself. You know, I had a calling to the Buddha, so I got a load of Buddha statues a while ago. 2 of them died. 2 of the Buddhas died, so this is on course for the topic of conversation, so we're still running. But I bought 3 Buddhas, right? I bought 3 Buddha statues, and each of them has suffered a different fate. One of them is still alive. The other one I punched in half because my ex-girlfriend was being a bitch to me, and I was really angry, and like she was elsewhere, but she'd just sent me some snotty email, and I was like, oh fuck this, and I got really angry, and I was at home, and I just punched this Buddha in half. It really fucking hurt my hand, and the Buddha was just like cut in half, you know, and it was made of stone. I'm that powerful. It wasn't made of stone, it was made of some plastic thing. It was a plastic Buddha dude, a big sort of you know, pretend gold statue, but it was made of plastic stuff, and I just punched it in half, and it really hurt, and it brought home the message that violence is not the answer, because I'd lost my Buddha, because, you know, I tried to sellotape him back together, but it just wasn't the same. And my hand hurt, so violence it taught me a valuable lesson. So the Buddha sacrificed himself to show me the way that violence is not the answer. I already knew that anyway, but, you know, I was still a bit angry. Okay. Second Buddha that died of a fire. Died in fire. Death by fire. This was around Christmas. Light of Jesus in the sky. Oh. Let's get a Christmas tree. So this, see, this showed up as well around one of my other videos on my other channel called Phyros Reborn, the rebirth of. I need to shut up with the Jesus thing. It's really annoying. But yeah, this Christmas tree showed up on Easter, believe it or not, and I was doing a video on Easter called Chinese Fart Torture. Light of Jesus in the sky. Oh man. And what am I on about here? What is this anyway? Christmas tree. This video is supposed to be about death. The light of Jesus in the sky. La 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 la. I don't think I'm going to get through this video, am I, with anything sensible? But this Christmas, why am I holding a Christmas tree in the middle of April? I don't know. So Jesus wants to make himself known, obviously, don't you? Huh? What is up with you? You're dead. You've had your thing. Your time is up. You're dead. Dead, Christ, Lord. He just won't shut up. He really wants to be known. He's really distracting me. What? With your arms open. Hello, I'm Jesus, everybody. I'm back from the dead. I was dead, now I'm alive again. When is he supposed to have erected himself? Resurrected himself? I don't know the story well enough, love. I don't know it well enough, so maybe, what are you trying, is that why you're trying to come back? It's around Easter time and you, yeah. So, death. Well, we are talking about the subject of death. Maybe I'm just trying to, you know, I let my higher self, my higher power, I let my surrendered nature do these videos. You know, I don't pre-plan anything. And it might be that you're not, as a viewer, you're not ready to just hear me talk about the real deep stuff that I have available to talk to you about. So we may be just trying to, you know, lead you in gently with nonsense. Nonsense is a way that I can be real and myself and have a better hairstyle, you would hope. Nonsense is a way we can talk about stuff that is light and doesn't bring up too much resistance because you're laughing. And then we can get past some of the initial resistance to truth with laughter, and then we can go into a deeper exploration of truth. Really, it's an exploration, because truth is just like truth is what it is, isn't it? So, you know, and then it takes on different forms. Oh, I'm trying to find a hat. Don't mind me. Well, hold on. That's a pound. Pound of Jesus in 1 pound of Jesus. 1 pound 1 pound Jesus. So death. There's a lot of death going on. So as I say, let's get back to the beginning. Light of Jesus, Christmas tree. There was a mouse. It died. I saw it under the swing in a friend of the family's garden, and I looked at it. I was like, nah, it's not dead. Can't be dead. But it was dead. And I was like, no. Oh yeah, and that film My Girl as well. Anyone seen that film? My Girl. I saw that film My Girl, involving bees. There were bees, wasn't it? Not wasps. Yeah, bees. Bees killed a bloke, a young bloke, who, being young at the time, I was young, he was young, we were all young. We were young and free, and he got stung by the bees. Yeah, it was sad. I was really sad, and I thought, nah, he can't be dead. He's going to wake up any minute. He's going to wake up at any minute. He will wake up. And he didn't wake up. It's just like that mouse that did not wake up. And that's that, isn't it? That's what death is. It's the end. The actual end. I'm going to put that in front of me so I can see it and it can distract me, but I don't have to show it to you all the time. Light of Jesus in the sky. Okay, he wants me to hold the fucking thing because he's getting annoyed if I don't give him acknowledgement. What kind of Jesus do you... Why do you need me to acknowledge you all the time, Lord? Lord. I'll have to carry on holding it then. You've got Christmas tree in one hand, birth in one hand, halo of enlightenment and wisdom and, you know, love and truth and things like this. And then the death of Jesus in the background, because how can we have pictures of him if he was alive? Because he was alive 2,000 million years ago. Okay. Light of Jesus in the sky. Death. So we had the mouse, he died, he was dead on the floor, lifeless little being. And I thought, And also there was these eggs, and on another occasion, these bird eggs, and they had fallen out of a nest and gone on the floor, and and I looked at them, and I was a small child, and I was looking at them, and I was like, no, because they're dead. Well, they're not even dead because they weren't really alive, but they were dead. You know, there was no chance of them being alive ever. And I was like, no, and I was like, it's a very sad feeling because it's like a waste. It felt like a waste of potential. It felt like, you know, lives that could have happened have not happened. And I was like, oh. So, you know, if you're into abortion and stuff, then that's something for you to feel about. I'm sure that people who do have abortions feel a terrible sense of guilt or waste or grief or unhappiness about having the abortion. You know, that it's not a nice thing to do, but sometimes it is the best thing, even though it hurts. And it's you know, life would prefer to be life, if that makes sense. You know, life wants to express itself if it can. Yeah, but sometimes one life can harm the life of another, so we have to be careful. Jesus. So now I've just, you know, ruined everyone's feelings. This video will ruin your feelings, and you, if you don't end up hating me at some point during this video, then I'm not doing my job, because part of this video is about bringing up resistance. Death is one of the main, or is the biggest resistance that we have in life. In fact, we resist death with a vengeance. We don't want it to happen to us. We hate it when other people in our lives die. We sometimes try to conquer death by killing other people, such as in war. We flaunt with death to try and, I don't know, come to terms with it, to come to terms with death by flaunting with it in extreme sports activities and by being reckless with our health and things like this. And, we feel like we want to have power over it so we can stop it from happening. We want to live forever, things like this. This is all resistance against the natural course of life, which is the arising and decaying of form. So the birth and death. And the thing is with death is that death is always happening all the time. So, the beginning of this video is dead now. We could say that. We could say that this hand movement is dead now. And it just depends on how you're chunking life as well. You could say that this is dead. You could say that, oh, well, it depends how you chunk that, because you could have said, oh, that part was dead, then that part was dead, then that part was dead, the movement's dead. But then on another level, it's all a bit dead, do you know what I mean? You know what I mean? So now I've alienated the homosexual crowd. We're all going to die. We are all going to die. I am going to die. This is the most annoying aspect of my life, is the knowledge that I will die eventually, and I'm particularly attached to this body in this form. I don't want it to happen. I'd rather carry on. I would rather carry on living forever. I just can't deny it. I would rather not have to die. I don't want to go through the pain of it, if there is pain, and I don't want to. I just don't want to stop living. I don't want to stop living. I'd rather carry on and on and on and on, and just for life to just get better and better and better, and carry on basically. I wouldn't mind being able to shift from one of these bodies into someone else's, at will. That would be all right, because then I could live forever as an intelligence and as a consciousness and as a soul, and taking knowledge from each one, and then I could just get rid of knowledge that I don't want anymore as well, and I'd be like, oh, whatever. And I suppose that is what we would consider reincarnation to be, isn't it? Moving from body to body. But I mean, like, doing it now. Right, I'm Michael Jackson. Oh, he's dead. Well, right, I'm Donald Trump. Suddenly just go into Donald Trump's body. Oh, what a fucking weird place to be, isn't it? Get out of here, I don't want to be in this one. Off we go, out somewhere else. And, yeah. So, death. So we had the mouse, there was bees that died, then they had my girl, Macaulay Culkin, his character. I mean, he didn't die in real life. Not yet, anyway, isn't it? Oh, God. So, yeah, we have to deal with this fact of life. A fact of life is the fact of death. Na-na-na-na-na-na. Hey! Na-na-na-na. And the only way you can, come to terms with this thing is to face it. Face the fact that it happens. It is going to happen to everyone you know. It is going to happen. I really want to put this down, but it's like it wants to be here, and I don't want it to be here. Why am I holding a Christmas tree? So death is going to happen to you, whoever else is watching with you. Death is going to happen to you. You are going to die. You are going to die. One day, right? Yeah, you are going to die. You are going to die. You're going to die. You're going to die. You're going to die as well. You're going to die. All of you are going to die. Not because I'm going to kill you. I'll kill you, I will. No, you're just going to die because that's the way of things. Unfortunately. And I say unfortunately because that's the resistance. We don't want that to happen. It seems to be built into the nature of us as people, is that we don't want to die, but yet we have to die. There's no way around it, There has never been any person who has not died. Right? Everyone has died in the past because they're not here. Sometimes I get a feeling, very occasionally I think about, Or think about how many people there have been on this planet already before us. It's just sheer volume of dead blokes and women, dead people. The sheer volume of dead blokes, just dead blokes. I don't know why I don't care about the women. Yeah, they can die, kill them. Right, so now I've alienated the feminist crowd. And all women in general, actually. Alienate women. What can I say about blokes to get rid of blokes? Blokes, even calling them blokes. Apparently I'm not allowed to call women birds anymore. I can't say birds and blokes. But fuck off, you lot. I'll say what I like. Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ. Night of Jesus. I mean, bollocks to you. I'll say what I like. I'll be a racist cunt nigger fucker as well. You know, fuck off telling me what I can and can't do with my mouth. My fucking mouth. Yeah? My mouth. Oh, man, but you can't say those words. I can say those words, you nigger arsehole fucking cunt bitch. Shut your fucking face up. I'll say whatever disgusting words come out of my mouth because I'm the one moving it. Blah, blah, blah. You know? It's this weird controlling people. It's just a way of trying to control people. I'm not racist. I'm not racist, yeah, but I do want to be a nigger cunt bitch fuck. It's a bit of a control strategy, this whole political correctness. Why should anyone else say what we tell them to say and what they are and aren't allowed to say? Fuck off. You know, get out of my life. You know, what kind of person are you? Go away. Why do you try and control what people can and can't say? Oh, because it hurts their feelings. How do you know? Let them stick up for themselves. If it hurts their feelings, they've got a mouth too. They say shit back at you. Fuck off. You know? And trying to protect people's feelings is ridiculous. This is death. Death. You can't protect anyone from death, okay? You can't protect anyone from feeling pain. Unfortunately, it is built into the body that pain happens. Alright? And feelings get hurt. Right? And if you try and protect people from fucking life all the time, and trying to protect people from words, and try and protect people from knowledge, and protect people from death, you're essentially trying to control their experience of life. So you're trying to own them in some way. And they're the only ones who can own themselves. So, fuck yourselves, nigger bitches, you know, birds, blokes, I'll say what I fucking like, toss yourselves off in the corner if you're unhappy with it. Toss yourselves off in the corner if you're unhappy with it. Okay. Light of Jesus. I'm the best Christian in the world. Jesus was a nigger cunt bitch anyway. Jesus was a motherfucker. Alright? He fucked his own mum. That's why he was born. Because his mum was a virgin. God fucked him. God fucked his mum. And he is God. So he fucked his own mum. Jesus was a motherfucker. Ah! Can I get an amen? Hallelujah. Jesus in the sky tonight. So, death. If you're still here, well done. You're coming along for the journey of life. So death. So we had the mouse, as I say. We had the bees. We've had the Macaulay Culkin, who did not wake up. He died in the film. I knew he was alive, really, though, because you know when these people are dead in films, they still have to breathe. So, and children aren't very good at breathing. I mean, you know, they're not good at pretending to not breathe. Yeah, that does make sense. Children find it difficult to act because their bodies are going blah, 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 blah. And, you know, whatever. We used to make home videos as children. We used to make videos like we did parodies of movies. Well, we didn't think they were parodies as such. They were remakes of mainstream movies. Please, can I put this Jesus thing down? This is ridiculous. This is absolutely ridiculous that I'm holding this and I feel compelled to hold this. Like, what? It feels natural in a way. It feels like it's just part of me. Christmas tree from the sky. Yeah, we used to make remakes of major movies when we were kids. And Oh yeah, and one of our actors was the youngest one in our little pack of friends, and he was the guy who always dies. That was his role. His role was to be the guy who always died because he was the youngest, so like he was in the low end of the pecking order. You know, I was at the top running the show. Then I had my sidekick who was a little bit lower. Then I had my brother who was a little bit lower. And then we had the youngest one who was, you know, lowest order, the run to the pack. And that's just how it works. I was the oldest, he was the next oldest, and then my brother was down there, and then the youngest like that. That's how it works, you know, in the chain of life. The older you are, the better you are. And that's just the way. So when I get to the age of 89, I'll be better than all of you lot for sure. You're gonna die, I'm going to die, I am going to die. I know, you don't want to die, I'm going to die. Ugh, die by poking in the eye. I'm not going to die, I'm going to die, I'm going to die. Me, light of Jesus in the sky. I'm going to die. That's what Jesus was saying to, please let me put this down. Please, Lord. That's what Jesus was saying to Judas and all the other blokes. Blokes again. Put that down. It's okay to put it down. Light of Jesus. Okay. So, yeah, that's what Jesus was saying before he went off to the cross, wasn't he? I'm just off to the cross, mate. Do you want anything? No. I'm off down cross. Do you want anything? No, Jesus, because you're going to die on there. You can't really bring anything down from there. I know, but, you know, I was just saying, sometimes it's nice to be polite, innit? Even though I'm going off to the cross and I can't actually bring you anything, I thought I'd offer, you know, to show a gesture. That's like when people go off to the shop and they go, do you want anything? And then you go, yeah, I'll have, can you get me 3 packets of crisps, a fruit smoothie, and a thing of bread and some milk, and you go, well, you have to give me the money then. Why don't you just come? I meant one item is about enough that I can handle. I don't want to have to make a list. It's just a polite gesture. If there's 1 or 2 items, yes. But don't give me your shopping list. I'm off to the shop. Do you want anything? Yeah, here's my shopping list. Can you get the week's shop? It was just a gesture. I'm just going out of the office to no, I don't want to get the week's shop. I'm not getting the week's shopping for you. So, yeah. Let's bring the Christmas tree back. Keeps me company. Light of Jesus. So here we go. Death. So we've had the mouse died, and he was there underneath the swing. Small item he was, little white thing. Was it brown? I think it's brown actually, now that I think of it. See, and that's a memory for you, isn't it? My memories are dying. That's a annoying thing when you can't remember things clearly as well. That reminds you of death. It's all about death, this video, really, isn't it now? Look at the title, death. So we had the mouse, brown mouse now that I remember, underneath the swing. Dead. Bees, I killed some of them. Did I kill them though, or did they just die as I clapped them of natural causes? You know, clapped like that, bang in the hands. Just before the hands touched them, they went, that was just that was just their moment. It could be. So now the animal rights people obviously will be upset with me as well. So let's just alienate all human beings. At once, if possible. All right. So the bees are dead now. Macaulay Culkin's dead in My Girl, so he's there lying in the good grave thing, coffin, whatever it is. He's dead. He's not waking up anytime soon. Not in that film, anyway. And it's, you know, you do feel sad about these things. So he died, and I was like, no, he's going to wake up. He didn't wake up. That's the end. And he was only young, you know, he was only 8 years old or whatever it is in the film, and now he's dead, killed by killer bees. It won't actually kill a bees. It's just a sheer volume of bees. And that does happen occasionally. People do die of bees. How did you die? Bees. You get to the afterlife in whatever form. Let's say there is an afterlife. I like playing around with the ideas of afterlife. You get to the afterlife and you're like, well, what did you die of then? Bees. Oh yeah. What did you die of? Shark. Oh, shark. That's a good one. Yeah. What did you die of? Oh, I died in a Jurassic Park film. Oh, fair enough. What did you die of? Train accident. Oh yeah. There was a lot of them going around from it. What did you die of? Terrorism. Oh yeah. Terrorism. What did you die of? Oh, I was just lying around. What do you mean you're just lying around? Natural causes, isn't it? Oh yeah, natural causes. What did you die of? Slipped up a banana skin. Oh, comic book character, are you? Yeah. What did you die of? I killed myself. I'll kill you and all. What the hell are you? Oh, shooting person. Oh, one of those attacky shooty people, are you? Now let's just alienate the whole of America and the whole gun people. Let's alienate them. What did you die of? I died in a school shooting. Oh yeah, I died as well. And I'm in the same fucking afterlife as you. I'm the shooter. I'm back to shoot you. I'm already dead. Yeah, good point. So you get to the afterlife and everyone's already dead and no one can die anymore. And you're like, oh, okay. What can we do now then? Something else. So everyone's alienated. How did you die? Alien abduction. Really? Yeah. What happened then? So you took you up on a spaceship? Yeah, they took me up onto a spaceship. And when I got there, they put me on a table, probed me with things. And then, but you never guess how I died. Go on then. How did you die? Bees. Alien bees. I got attacked by alien bees. Really? Yeah, alien bees. Oh, I never saw that one coming. How did you die then? Well, I was just going about my day, tripped up on a kettle because someone had left the kettle lying around. Oh, really? Yeah. Head banged into the hob, which switched the flame on, which set my hair on fire. And as my hair was on fire, I accidentally fell over again into the bin, which set the bin on fire. And then everything was on fire, and I basically just died of fire. Oh, really? Were you in a Final Destination film? Yeah. Okay, so is everyone alienated yet? Are you alienated? Are you dead yet? You're going to die. You are going to die. You, camera, are going to die. You will die. You will die, you will die, you will die. Everyone's going to die. And the quicker we get used to this idea, the better. Because then you stop living from the fear of death. You know, a lot of us are constantly avoiding death. We're trying to, you know, a lot of our activities stem from a subtle fear of death, which is actually a very limiting feeling. It's the anxiousness, the fear of death, the fear that if I do this, I will die. And you have different forms of death as well. There's social death, which is like embarrassment could be seen as a small form of death. It's like a social death, you know. Part of my social image has died. Part of my reputation has died. Part of my dignity has died. Do you see what I'm saying here? Small death, death is lost, death is lost, death is lost. You know, losing money is a death of the situation when you had lots of money. Does that make sense? So death is loss, death is loss. Death is change. The end of a relationship is a small death. Like a breakup is a small death, which is why we have the sadness, the feeling of loss, and the missing of someone, which is an attachment. So, you know, we grieve for the attachment, which means we feel the strength of the attachment that was there when the thing is gone. So, death, the light of Jesus in the sky. So the quicker we get used to this idea of death is going to happen, and is actually constantly happening all the time, that if we face into that as a fact of life, that death is always occurring, that in fact death is just the way of change. Death is the way that life gives way to new life. So the beginning of this video has given way to the next part of this video. So life is in a continual state of giving way to the next thing. So, you know, and as I said about chunking, If you don't chunk life in that way anymore and you just see life as more of a flow, then you kind of become immune to the feeling of death to some degree. You don't live life in a way that is in fear of what might happen. You know, what might happen is eventually it's death. And when you're living in a way of trying to fulfill your destiny, it's the opposite, which is something like, I can defeat death by achieving such and such in life. I can achieve my destiny in life, then I will defeat death somehow. But when you get to it, you achieve your destiny, you achieve all your goals, you get what you want, you have the life that you want, and then you're still gone. So that's the end of that. I've always been one for really facing into this death thing. I think a lot of people live in a state of denial, a state of death denial. I call them death deniers. It's a death denial thing. There's a culture of it, though. There's a massive culture of death denying. Death deniers are us. You know, it only happens to someone else, or only happens in movies, that type of thing. And the way that we see people die is very much in newspapers. So people only ever seem to die in newspapers. And when they die in your own life, it's just kind of normal. It's less dramatized. So then my granddad died, my first granddad to die. He died when I was 15, I think. 14, maybe 14, 13, 14, 15. I don't even know. I do know. I have to recalculate it. 1999? I think it's 1999 or 98. I don't know. He died. And when he died, I went into shock. It was... I did not grieve. I did not cry. I cried a little bit, but I went into shock. And denial. And I spent a long time ruminating about death from that point onwards, and I felt like I was depressed from that point onwards in my life. That was the beginning of my depression as a teenager. And I became obsessed with the idea of impermanence, obsessed with the idea that things are constantly dying. The moment is dying all the time. One thing is dying. This plant is going to die. Everything is going to die. This person is going to die. This scenario is going to die. This video is going to die. This whole world is going to die. The whole earth is going to die eventually. You know, the earth will be swallowed by the sun eventually. Or the whole human race will no longer exist at some point in the future, because either it will have evolved or it will have killed itself in some way. You know, everything is going to die. Everyone who is around me now will die, either in my lifetime or after I'm dead. All the people who have ever already existed are already dead. They have already died. All the people who are being born today will be dead within 150 years. You know, probably, depending on health, technology, and so on in the future. We will all die. You're going to die. I'm going to die. He's going to die. Jesus already is dead, but he's still alive. So what carries on then? What carries on? Is it the soul? Is it the idea of us? The memory of us? What carries on? Pardon me. And why do we need something to carry on? There's that attachment to, or resistance to death, attachment to life. So part of me wants to know that I'm going to be remembered in some way, and my life is going to have meaning after I go, right? So that's still a resistance. I want something of me to carry on. I want something of me to carry on, which is the resistance. Is still resisting against complete obliteration. You know, if there's a scenario where no one remembers me, my life had absolutely no impact, my life meant nothing, my life did not achieve anything for anyone, not even for me, you know, utter nihilism, utter meaninglessness, then something in me goes, I just don't want it to be that way. But if you can accept that, if you can accept as a possibility that your life will just turn to complete and total blackness, and there will have been no point to it whatsoever, and it will have had no meaning, and it will have had no impact, and it will have been no contribution to anyone, and it will, have had no lasting happiness or joy, and there is no afterlife, and there is no heaven nor hell, no purgatory, no other reincarnation, nothing. That after death, that's it. And you can't remember anything. No one will remember you afterwards. You wouldn't even know if they remembered you afterwards anyway, because you're dead. All this, if you can just accept that, the utter emptiness and blackness and therefore meaninglessness of this current moment as well, because this moment is not adding to anything. From the perspective of me as a dead nothingness, this moment means absolutely nothing, right? And if you can hold that and be okay with that, then you bring yourself to life. It's a very strange thing, because in a way I feel like I already am that. I already am that deathness. I am that void. I am that emptiness. I am that after death experience. I am already there. So I live from that perspective, and from that perspective of consciousness or emptiness, from that perspective you see everything. You're not trying to avoid life anymore. You're not trying to avoid death by busying yourself, so you become more present and alert to the things that are here. It's a very strange paradox that when you face death really deeply, really fully, you suddenly see life in all its fullness, and you suddenly value everything that is here in its richness and in its meaning and in its essence. You see that all these things are an expression of life. All these items, all these people, all these sounds, everything is this teeming life energy going on, yeah? But still, I don't want to die. I don't want to die, and I still am annoyed, and part of my brain does not want to comprehend the fact of death. But the more that I face it, and the more that I acknowledge this thing and I process this idea of death, the more I get to feel better in my life now, because so much of our lives are pushed around by this resistance to the idea of death, and therefore we're resisting the natural flow of life. So we don't do certain things because they represent death to us in a way. Like, you wouldn't say certain things to people because they represent a kind of death. They represent bad thing happening. I'm not going to do this because bad things will happen. So you're not free to do things that bring up fear. Yeah, you don't have that choice because you're so afraid you can't even consider them anymore. So you have to face death if you want to live an authentic life that springs from your desires now and is an expression of your true self. Now you have to face death, because the feeling of death comes up anyway. The feeling of death comes up anytime something feels threatening to you. It's a fear of death. I feel like the video's coming to an end now. I'm not sure how long I've got in terms of how long my videos record for. My last one used to record for only 47 minutes, so we'll see what happens there. But this is what we need to do really in life, is to face death. So today, why I'm speaking about this is that a friend of the family has died on Friday, and my mum has found out about it today, and she said that she was very sad. And I'm not sad. I'm not sad because I don't have that same attachment to that person that she did. I'm sure that I will feel sad when someone who I was friends with for 40 years dies. I'm sure I will, but part of my authenticity is I don't feel sad about that person dying. Really, I mean, there's a little bit in there, and I'm going to do a bit of processing about that. I already have done a bit of processing about that as to what did this person mean to me, and bring up the memories associated with that. But it's more of a conscious process. It's more like I want to honor this person in my memory now because I know he's died, and it's not. I'm not like. Whereas previously, when someone has died in my life, I might have just been like, oh no, really tried to protect myself from it in some way, or try and screen it out, or just been overwhelmed by grief all of a sudden, without realizing why and where it came from. But because I'm doing this as a process in my life, is to take on my resistances and process my resistances and understand my memories and come to terms with what has already gone on in my life, and it prepares me better for new things that come along. So this person has died. A lot of people have died recently. Another family member, like extended family, she wasn't really a relative of mine, but very close to my immediate family, died as well recently. And again, I felt a little bit of sadness, a little bit more sadness about that person, but not really someone who I was attached to. I didn't have a close relationship with them, so I don't really have that feeling of grief about them. And I feel like maybe I should be trying to appear more grievy and more sympathetic, but I don't feel that way. So my authentic response is nothing. So, okay, but then in that sense, I can actually be there for the other people who are feeling that grief, because I'm not going through that, and I can only really be compassionate and sympathetic and understanding when I have the space to, so when I'm not like embroiled in all that, if other people are going, I can't be a voice of sanity if I'm also going, So I'm glad I've done a lot of my own grief processing, my own trauma of events happening, loss. I've done a lot of loss processing. I've gone through a lot of loss processing, so I now feel like death is part of life. I can handle that when that happens. It's going to happen to me. It's going to happen to all my friends. It's going to happen to all the people in my family. I know that when my mum and my dad die, I am going to feel a lot of grief. I will also feel some grief when my gran dies and my other gran. But I've been processing their death in advance. I know that sounds weird, but I've been spending little bits of time in the knowing and the understanding that this person will die, and I haven't excluded that from my consciousness. I know they're going to die, and in a way I want some of them to die because they're in pain and they're in suffering, and they are weighing other people down as well. So for them, being alive is a real nightmare for them. So either I'd like them to somehow manage to become happy in their last moments before they die, or for them to just relax into death, and then they can have relief from their suffering. So my views and feelings about death, in contrast to other people I know, are very weird, because I don't shy away from it, and I don't make it into a massive thing. I don't feel afraid of it, and I don't pussyfoot around it either. I love it. I love a bit of death. I love a funeral. It's a real good way to get in touch with your emotions. Yeah, and it's to honor life. Funerals are great places to honor life and to feel alive. To honor the life of other people, and to realize yourself that you're alive now, and here you go. Here it is. This is the game. The game is on. Here we are. This is life. So yeah, my response to people dying is sometimes laughter. I'm like, well, that's how it was. It was always going to be like that. That's what was going to happen from the beginning. And if you didn't realise it, you're a bit of an idiot. Which, I'm sorry about that, but yeah, I do feel a bit. I find it amusing that people seem to not realise that that's where it's headed. You know, I'm like, what, you didn't realise that this person who's 90 years old would die? And they're like, well, I don't know, they just live for so long, you thought they might live forever. Oh. Everything is constantly dying. And if you can grapple with that idea and feel that emotion behind it and make peace with that notion of the moment constantly giving way to the next thing, the forms are constantly arising and decaying. And if you can deal with that on an emotional level and make peace with that and come to terms with that and accept that as a constant background throb, sorry. If you can accept that that's what life is and dismantle your resistance against it. I've got a lot of mental resistance to this death thing. You know, my mind wants to my mind is saying no to death. My mind wants something to be constant. You know, it wants something to not die. And the thing is that you as consciousness in your essence never die. The one thing that's been constant throughout this whole video, in the background of the words that I've said and the gestures I've made and the holding this and the putting it down, the one thing that's been constant is me as consciousness, me as awareness. And that has never died throughout this whole thing, and that just stays the same. So it's the mind and the emotions that have the resistance to death, and the mind and the emotions that get trapped into wanting things to stay the same. And ironically, it's the awareness that's present within us at all times, if we choose to acknowledge that. The awareness that we are, the presence that we are, actually does stay the same all the time. So you could think of the mind and the emotions, the resistance to death is the mind and the emotions trying to return to awareness. That's a bit of a big statement. I don't know if I could explain that exactly. Yeah. Death is home. Death is the resting place. Death is when you finally get to relax. And I mean really relax, you know. Everything in your body relaxes. You're dead. Really relaxing. I don't see why people are so against it. It's the final time you get to rest. Total rest. I mean, you know what I mean? Total rest. Your mind is at rest. Your body is at rest. The soul is back at rest. Whatever the soul is. Yeah? So, Christmas tree. Birth, death, light of Jesus in the sky. I think I've about done it there. So, family, friends are dying left, right and centre. People are all going to die. We're all going to die. You know, that's just how it is. And we need to get used to it. The more okay we get with this fact, the happier we can be and the freer we are in our actions, because our actions are no longer controlled by a fear of death. We're no longer pushed around by fears of death all the time, you know. So we get to enjoy life now and live life how we wish to live it now, today, as we go, as we move through it. Not trying to seek to get to somewhere, because we know that as soon as we get to the somewhere, that's died. The next thing coming along is always coming along, is always moving, changing, flowing, fluxing, yeah. So, whenever I watch spiritual teachers talking about death, I feel myself grieve a little bit. I feel myself get sad, because there's something really beautiful about people who have accepted death talking about it. I don't know, it shows something to me about the value of life. When we contrast it with death, and when people talk about death, it brings up those inner resistances to it, and it feels powerful when people speak of death. and grief and suffering and loss, because it seems like that's the most it's the strongest experience in life. I think grief is probably the strongest emotion in life, because it comes from this resistance to death and this attachment to death. And it's an attachment to life, attachment to life and resistance to death. And that's one of the biggest programs in us in terms of patterns of living. It's kind of built into our body system, as I said, built into our emotional system, that we resist death. But as we purge that, we start to open up our feelings to the whole range of feeling and sensation. The more you enter into your resistances and become present to them and let them go and let them expand, the more you are able to experience in terms of feeling and in terms of pleasure and in terms of joy and in terms of inspiration. And then you can create from that as well, knowing that everything that you ever create, every relationship you ever have, everything you ever do, every situation you ever get into is going to pass away. Every friendship you ever have will come to an end, you know. And that's why when you have that awareness of death in the background, and it's an awareness rather than a thinking about it all the time. It's an awareness, it's a feeling, it's a sense of knowing. And what that feels like to me is it feels like a sense of honoring every relationship that you have, honoring every situation that you're in, being in every situation and being in every moment of life, because you know that they're all passing, so they're all really tasty, you know, they're all really something to be interested in. They've got this preciousness to them because they're all passing, so you don't want to miss it, because if you get to the end of your life and you realize, I didn't fucking pay attention, that's not a good place to be. I want to be in the place where I have a really rich life, where I paid attention, I noticed things, I was there, you know, I witnessed it and I experienced it all. So the whole live for your day, live for the day, live in it now, carpe diem, seize the day. Seize the day means be here in the day. It doesn't mean like you have to suddenly start doing stupid stuff and crazy stuff. If you want to, fine. But seize the day means really be here in the day anyway. Be here in the day as you are. Be witness to the day. Be active in the day that you are here. Be present in the day now. It doesn't mean necessarily to change your life and do this and go off on an adventure. I mean, it can mean that, but it means wherever you are, seize that day, seize this day, you know, be in this day. This day meaning this moment. Be where you are. See into it, feel into it, be present to it, acknowledge it, honor it, invest in it. If you invest yourself in every moment that you're in, you will only ever get back richness. And I mean richness of life, not necessarily richness of finances, money, whatever. But you'll feel like you're constantly connected to life. And that's an enjoyable place to be. It's an enjoyable way of living. Death. So everyone's dead. We're all dead. Anyway, we're basically already dead from a future perspective. So we may as well enjoy life now, because my 13-year-old self from this perspective now is dead. Oh dear. So hopefully that's some food for thought. Death. And if you haven't cried during this video, I'm very sorry. I will try my best to make you cry on the next one. If there is a next one, I may not. I'm just making stuff up now. Oh, like I wasn't making it up before. Ugh. Right, Light of Jesus in the Sky. We've got an hour video on the subject of death by Budos. For more spiritual talks and talks on difficult subjects, death, life, the power of life, death. For more spiritual topics, have a look on my video channel, and there might be more by the time you have a look at it, because this moment, dead. Okay. And death. See, look at that. Doesn't it feel like death? Alive. The light of Jesus is dead. But something remains. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, dead. We're all dead on the inside. Yeah.